Hi, I'm Reese, and this is Cosmos Cache, a free and open source project which makes development easier while lowering infrastructure costs for node operators. This includes RPC, Batch RPC, REST, ABCI queries, SwaggerUI, and OpenAPI support. It's been stress tested with 52 million requests in a 3-hour span at its peak on a single node. This is about 5,000 requests with an average response time of under 300 milliseconds per request. With the cache disabled, queries were taking upwards of 20 seconds with the majority timing out entirely. On the technical side, it is running Python on a WSGI server. This way, code is preloaded, and global interpreter lock and just-in-time compilation are not a limitation for this reason. Requests are handled asynchronously by multiple workers and threads, so you can use more than the single core that the SDK queries use. Some features include that the reverse proxy config is the same for load balancing. It runs alongside your Cosmos node on the same machine or on another middleware machine like a VPS or Docker instance. By default, it has backup RPC support. In case your node goes down for maintenance, the front-end API will stay up and continue to serve requests to the user. We have some of the features here for users as well as some pre-requirements, how to install the remote cache, as well as the setup for your configuration needs. Here are the RPC. We can see here some custom HTML, which also includes the API. We can also see here the cache info. The developer will put this on their node and decide. So -2 is for the length of the block. At the end of the block, it'll clear all of caches for that reason. Here are the parameters you can set for longer instances here, and you can change these. And as you save that file, within 5 minutes, it'll persist across your RPC here. Also, if you look here, there's a -1 option, so you're able to disable query endpoints that may DOS your node. So for example, here, the accounts endpoint, this typically will DOS your node, and you can just disable this entirely. We also have CoinGecko here, so prices we can look at, and you can specify any IDs you want, as well as any of the fiat currencies you want against this, and this caches every 6 seconds. So if we come here to the actual environment itself, you can see it's just pretty simple configuration, and you can also point to another RPC provider as well as the WebSockets. You can disable that if you just set it to nothing and things like this. It's just done in a normal endpoint here, so you can see for the Genesis, this is saved for a couple of days, and so we just typically get this rather than having to query the node directly. So if we go to another project I have here, and I go request for Canto to grab my balance, it'll connect here, and we will now see that that ABCI query is now put here for all balances with this data. Now, this data is still the same for any user. However, this ID is unique. So we actually spoof the ID in the request before we save it. That way that the ID here would actually send back through and transactions will be successful despite the cache running. So this has definitely been a difficult project to solve, but something that Cosmos definitely needs. And I'm glad that now it'll be able to scale up both on Canto to help serve requests as well as other networks in the ecosystem.